Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
The Rock and Review is thrilled to bring a multi-instrumentalist, producer. Also, he has starred in TV and film. Matt North, thanks for coming on the Rock and Review.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You know, and by the way, you've got a great new album out, Bullies in the Backyard. And I was telling you before we started the interview, Matt, I really enjoyed all the tracks, and some of them kind of felt autobiographical. I felt like, you know, the lyrics are so, there's a sense of humor, but also there's a touch of life.
Well, I like to say humor and comedy is just my way of being dead serious. You know, it's a great way to get away with making a very sad or dark or sorrowful point, using humor to reach people and pay attention in a way without bringing them down. But it pretty much probably everything I write starts in a place of being autobiographical, and that's the initial light bulb moment.
Right.
But it goes in a direction of wherever I have to follow it. In the end, there's a lot of fiction. There's a lot of whatever it takes just to finish the song. I often say I really don't like writing, but I do love finishing.
Well, I got to ask you, because I mean, I enjoyed the whole album. What was your favorite track on here? And I know it's like talking about your babies, but you know, on this album with Bullies in the Backyard, what was your favorite song on there?
Today, and if you ask me the question tomorrow, it could change. Right now, I'm enjoying revisiting the second song. It's called Hollywood Forever. I had that title in a notebook for maybe 13 to 15 years because next door to the Paramount Studios is a cemetery called the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Right. And I always thought, man, Hollywood Forever, that'd be a great title for a song or a movie or a short story or something. And I just never could come up with a theme or the melody until I moved to Nashville, and I found myself missing a lot of things that I did love about living in Los Angeles. So in a way, the song has humor. There's a lot of sadness in the song that I feel hopefully was conveyed in a way where the storyteller is holding his chin up and not whining. But you know, it's really just it was written at a time while I was enjoying Nashville and thrilled to be here, realizing and remembering a lot that I do really love about LA. And I'm so glad and feel fortunate that I got to enjoy a good 13 years out there. And that the song came from a cemetery. Why not?
You know, you and I were talking also, I thought it's interesting, Matt, that where most songwriters like yourself, you know, usually start with guitar, piano, or anything, but you are a drummer first and foremost, going all the way back to your Champaign, Illinois days. And so I find it interesting that a lot of times you start writing with the drums and then take it to the piano and guitar.
You're right. I started drumming when I was 13 years old in Champaign, Illinois, and I'm one of these kids who grew up in the 80s in bands who were trying to be like the Clash or the Replacements or REM. That's really the core of where I come from. I always secretly was fascinated with songs and the architecture of songs. And I realize now that I became a drummer because I initially tried piano and guitar and couldn't get my head around it. And I just reacted to drums in a way I just quickly knew what to do, and it fit. Yeah. And I say, you know, I started writing songs in my 30s and I started finishing them in my 40s. And here I am. I'm 52 years old, so you just wait until you see what I'm doing when I'm 69. And it's going to be a big clam bake. And so, you know, I hear the chords in my head when I come up with lyrics. At the time, I usually don't know what they are. I have to later go and investigate that. But after years and years of being a drummer, supporting other songwriters, I have a belief that every drummer who works with a songwriter in a way is every song's first producer, even if we're not in that role. Because if the song is like a painting, a really good drum arrangement is like putting a frame around the painting. And so my job as a drummer is to put a frame around the composition. So what I can do when I get a rough draft of a song, the first place I go is I sit behind the drums and I play and I sing the lyrics. and just pretend I'm Levon Helm for as long as I can. And, you know, I've always looked up to drummers who also sing. I grew up watching Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and Stan Lynch always pulled that mic around, and I noticed he sang. Roger Taylor for Queen has an incredible voice. I don't think anybody can phrase rhythmically better than Don Henley. I mean, he has been very successful, and there's something about when your body is playing a rhythm for a song and your voice is singing too. Well, we've got 4 limbs that operate a drum set. The mouth is kind of the 5th limb. And it's really easy to find the cadence and the rhythm of the lyrics and how they should feel when I start with the drums. And so I'm kind of able to pretend I'm my own drummer as a songwriter and hear what it's going to be. I explore different beats, different tempos, different grooves.
Right.
Then I go pick up an acoustic guitar or a piano when I get to that. So if there is anything that might make my approach a little unique, I feel it's that I'm coming from drums and rhythm, and then later thinking about melody and what chords I'm going to use or key signature.
Well, you know, I think also your producer ear really comes into play, because I noticed also, because when I was first, you know, I obviously know you as a musician and as a drummer, but it's like I thought, you know, a lot of times if that's your dominant instrument, Matt, that's what you're going to hear most. And in the mix, it wasn't, because your lyrics are so great and in depth. And I think you do a very good job of painting a picture with your lyrics. That's what I like about this album, is that, you know, I can visualize it. It's something that you can sit with. And I think, you know, with the songs, which each individual one, each listening, you get a little more out of those with the depth of the songs in this album.
Thank you. You know, as it relates to my lyrics, what else can I say? But I work my tail off. It doesn't come easily. You know, there are some things that just flow out of me, but in the end, every song is a result of a lot of hard work. And something funny you mentioned, say, about my producer ear. When I record my vocals, I've already recorded the drums and I was the drummer. And I've learned so much. There are times where I'll be singing the vocal, and as the singer, I'm going, man, why is the drummer hitting a crash cymbal at this point? It's stepping all over my vocal. Oh, wait, the drummer is me. Yeah. And so becoming a songwriter and a singer later in my music career has completely transformed my drumming. I feel that I was always a drummer who prioritized the song. I grew up idolizing Ringo Starr, Charlie Watts, John Bonham, all the legends who support the song first and foremost. But there's always room for improvement, you know, and I just feel that, yeah, you know, the lyrics and the melody are number one, and a drummer's job is to just make it feel good and make it work, whatever it takes.
Well, you know, and you also brought some A-listers in to record with you on this album, Matt.
Right. Well, if I have one talent, it's that I know who to hire and I know how to stay out of their way. The deal I made with myself recording these 10 songs was that the talent that I bring in to help me, I'm going to stay out of the way, and I'm going to accept everything they turn in without going back. Can we change this? Can we change that? And what I wanted to do as an experiment was to just accept what they give me and not say anything, and only speak up if it's bugging me in 4 or 5 weeks. And 9 times out of 10, everyone on the record turned in music that was completely different and a different thing than I was imagining. And I kept my mouth shut, didn't say anything. And in 3 or 4 days, they changed my mind. It went in a direction where I couldn't live without it. Whereas the first time I heard it, it was a little surprising, was maybe different than what I was imagining. But in the end, I'm not hiring some of the best Nashville session musicians to play what's inside my imagination. I want them to give what's inside their imagination. And just to name them, Stuart Mathis, guitarist, he's been in Lucinda Williams' band for the last 11 years. He's somebody that if David Bowie was alive looking for a guitarist, someone who could fill the shoes of Earl Slick, you know, he'd pick Stuart Mathis. Michael Webb, keyboardist, I feel is one of the most in-demand keyboardists in town. He's been on Chris Stapleton and Sturgill Simpson's albums, 2 songwriters who are huge inspirations to me. And Chris Donahue on bass, who just is just puts down a foundation that you can build any house on top of. Chris Donahue plays in Emmylou Harris's band, the Red Dirt Boys, and he's been with Elvis Costello and Robert Plant. So I like to hire people who have skills and expertise much greater than my own, and surround myself with people who I'm going to learn from, and that, you know, they elevate my performance, and there's no such thing as a solo album. I wrote the stuff, but
Right.
They came in and brought it to life.
With this new album, you know, to me, it seems like the songs really lend themselves to being a part of TV or film. I could see them easily working into Netflix, Hulu, whatever. And what do you think of that?
You just feel free to keep on saying that, and maybe someone will hear us. I'm never adverse to business.
Are you going to be coming out with videos? And are you hoping to, you know, tour and get out and do some shows this year with it also?
Yes and yes. I've shot 7 videos. I spent the last 3 weeks out in Los Angeles and then San Francisco. I shot 1 video in Nashville, but I just know some really great, talented cinematographers out west, and it just made sense to go out there and do it. And somehow I was able to get on a plane without the flight being canceled, thank heavens, and we got it done. And throughout February, March, and April, these videos are going to be released. They'll all be up on my website, mattnorth.net. And about playing live, right now, like a lot of people, due to COVID, I don't have anything scheduled, but I am organizing that.
I'll tell you what, I would love to come see you live here in Nashville with this new album.
Well, I would love to have you there, and I will let you know when we do that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt North, congratulations. Brand new album out now, Bullies in the Backyard. There's going to be videos coming out, hopefully live shows. Just a lot of fun catching up with you. Congratulations on everything. And thanks for joining us on The Rock Interview.
Thank you, Eric. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.